Hi, everybody. It's Linda G with our famous Sterling.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. Hello.
And thank you for your questions. And thank you to Dan and to Linda for sorting the questions out. And Sterling doesn't know what the questions are. So I hit him and you do it like me. I like to not know. I like to just hit it when I hear it.
Correct.
Okay, so, this is a good one. Does the Virgin Mary have a message for us?
Yeah, she's around all of us at this time of year. No surprise. But what I'm just picking up from her is that this is a time for rebirth. And this is a time not only for rebirth of us and our families, but the world in general, that we're going through a rebirth process. But she also wants to say that it's important that we live in love and not try to assign a lot of the rules from religion to people, which is interesting. So live in love. We're all part of the same one force. And so we are actually all one. And don't try to assign religious rules to situations. Live in love.
Wow, that's great. Will Rick Perry go to prison?
I don't see prison, but I see near bankruptcy financially. I see a lot of financial implications to suits. There could be some civil lawsuits here and legal expenses. So it looks like he's going to go a lot of court battle time, but I don't see prison. No.
Okay. Will the grand jury testimony of Rosemary Varblick be significant in bringing down 45 and Friends? Who is Rosemary Varblick?
Yeah, and that's the Deutsche Bank executive, if I remember correctly. I think she's Rosemary is the Deutsche Bank executive that was handling all of Trump family affairs. And the question is, will she bring down 45? Is that the question, I think?
Yes.
Actually, she's going to be very instrumental because not only does she have all the information on 45 in the family, but a lot of associates. So that was like a crossroads of a lot of financial dealings and money from overseas and offshore. So yes, she'll be like on the all-star team of females that bring down 45.
Awesome. Okay. Will Tucker C was he involved in the planning of insurrection?
What I get, entertainment purposes only. I get that half a dozen Fox hosts, including Tucker, were involved in not only the planning, but almost like the execution, like the play-by-play. And so, yes, they were involved almost like sports commentators from the sidelines as well. Yeah.
And you know what else is that now they were the ones that acted like, oh, it wasn't any big deal. It was tourists. It was BLM. Those are the people that were causing the violence.
Right.
Now that Liz has shown she's out for blood with sights set on 45, they must mean Liz Cheney. Or for blood with sights on 45 and his crimes during January 6th insurrection. Have your guides changed their viewpoint on his jail cell, escape plans, or other configurations?
It's a long question.
I know.
So Liz Cheney is definitely going to be one of the all-star team of females that brings them down. So there you go. There's another all-star team member. But no, my guides are saying that in terms of like the prognosis for how he handles this, at some point he's going to try to escape any kind of major litigation here. So I still see some connection to the Middle East and him trying to escape. So yeah,
okay. That makes sense. Will there ever be a limit of Congress for Congress from trading stocks or hold them accountable to clear insider trading on both sides, Democrat and Republicans?
Yes, within a decade, could be a little faster, could be 8 years, but it looks like what they're showing me is that there will be some financial guidelines around all like financial transactions for members of Congress. So
okay.
that's gonna watch that very, very carefully. Yeah, stock transactions. Yeah.
By
the way, I was just gonna jump in here. The reason they're gonna do that is because you can't be completely unbiased when it comes to pharmaceutical legislation or legislation involving the oil companies if you're betting on the stocks behind the scenes. So, yeah.
Well, Nancy Pelosi just wouldn't go there. They
Right.
asked her if she would do it, and she said no, which broke my heart.
Exactly.
Will Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz be investigated by the January 6th committee?
I get an astounding yes. I guess, yeah, they will. They will be investigated. Absolutely, yeah.
I always saw Josh Hawley in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Will there ever be limit members? Oh, wait. Yeah, we just did that. Will there ever be a better way to scan breasts other than mammograms?
Yeah, absolutely. And this feels like it's coming up within 5 years here, but it feels like new, more highly sensitive, like almost MRI technology that will be used. But the important thing they're showing me is not only will the technology be better, but it'll come down the cost curve. So it'll be available like in more locations. So it almost doesn't do good if you have like better, less invasive technology. If it's so expensive, only 1% of the population can use it. So it not only is a better imaging technology, but coming down the cost curve. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Will Mark Meadows ever go to jail?
You know, what they're showing me is it's going to be close, because it's almost like he's going to have to serve like a little bit of time, but then they get him out. So it's kind of strange. It's almost like he has to go behind bars for like 30 days or something.
Oh,
But then they get him out.
because he agrees to squeal.
Yeah, there's something going on there where it's like they hold his feet over the fire, and I'm serving like a little prison time, and then they let him out. But it's a very short span, so some negotiation goes on. Yeah.
Okay. When remote viewers see something in the future, is it set in stone, or is it a probable outcome?
We get these kind of questions all the time. So there's no probability associated with it. You know, everything flows up to the Akashic records, which is really everything that aligns with everything in the past, present, and future. So as long as you're aligning to the Akashic records, and that's your ability to be able to interpret them accurately, is where the kind of the fudge factor comes in, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So if you're seeing the records accurately, that is the future outcome.
Okay. Okay. Will all the investigations going on, will any of it, this is weird how this was written, with all the investigations going on, is any of it slowing or stopping the flow of the dark money? Are the players in this whole web losing money?
Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, it did stop a lot of the major flow of, say, dark money, offshore money, and because then they've had to find other ways now to hide it through cryptocurrency. It's made things more complex, so it has slowed down the flow of that money. Yeah, it has.
Good. Will the Protecting Our Democracy Act pass in the Senate eventually? Adam Schiff, chief sponsor of Protecting Our Democracy Act, passed the House last week and is pending in the Senate.
Yeah, I mean, they're telling me that it looks like by the middle of next year, maybe a little faster, it will pass. But that's that Protecting Democracy Act that had like a dozen elements in it for controlling executive power. Yeah, so all that, it is going to pass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it possible for gods and deities to be a person's spiritual guide?
Well, the way you explain that is, there's a lot of ascended masters. And so ascended masters can work with all of us. Jesus was an ascended master, so is Buddha. So they're not necessarily assigned to you full time, but you can certainly call on them for help, and they do help out where required. I think that's the answer to that question, but they don't get assigned to you full time. No.
Right. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Okay. Merry Christmas to Linda and Sterling. Thank you.
Thank you.
My state of Illinois is introducing a bill for unvaccinated patients to pay out of pocket for treatment in hospital. Will this bill get passed, and will it make unvaccinated people here more likely to get a vaccine?
Almost the answer is yes, yes, and yes, that particular bill is going to propagate out to other states. And believe it or not, you and I discussed this maybe a year ago, believe it or not, the fact that like insurance companies were going to hold people more accountable. Like if you don't get the vaccine, then we're not going to incur $250,000 of hospital care for you if you didn't get the vaccine. And you know what? So we got this a year ago and it's starting to roll out now. So the answer is yes, it's going to start rolling out to other states. Yeah.
Okay, how bad will the Omicron variant get in the US?
Well, over the next 6-month period here, it's going to be a challenge. But the good news is that if you're vaccinated and with a booster, you're going to get through it. Maybe it's going to feel like a bad cold, but it's going to be the predominant variant. And within actually a few weeks here, it will be. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like wildfire. When I see it, I feel like it just, boom, it goes right through.
Yeah, something like 10 times more contagious than Delta. But the good news is with all the people getting vaccinated, it's helping.
Good.
But the thing that slows it down is the world isn't completely vaccinated, right? So in the US, and I think New Zealand, by the way, I think of all the eligible people, like 99% of people in New Zealand are vaccinated. So incredible areas of the world that are vaccinated. But
awesome. Will Fox News and hosts that texted Meadows during the insurrection face repercussions?
100%.
Yes.
100%. It already started. Yeah.
I don't know if this is true. Somebody on Twitter who usually tends to tell the truth said that Sean Hannity was looking to go to the Middle East. I don't know if it's true, but Sean Hannity took a vacation, unexpected. So something's coming up.
Though the hammer's coming down, and we all saw the Dominion lawsuit got held up, right? That the judge wouldn't throw out the $1.6 billion lawsuit against Fox News. So the hammer's starting to come down on Fox. Yeah.
Awesome. Will the members of the January 6th committee start referring members of Congress for dismissal from office? Will they also submit those same congressional members and others to the DOJ for possible prosecution?
I see the latter. I see the referral to the DOJ. Absolutely. I don't see the dismissal, although maybe in a perfect world, that'd be wonderful to have that happen. They're telling me something legally here. They can't just jump to dismissal.
Yeah, they were voted in, so they have to be voted out.
Yeah.
Can you look at honeybees? Are we going to be able to save them?
Yes, because a lot of it has to do with identifying certain viruses that affect them. So we'll be able to identify which viruses those are, or fungus. So over the next 5 years here, we'll make significant progress in stabilizing the honeybee population. And then over the additional 5 years, so over a 10-year period, we'll get them restored. So a lot of R&D dollars are going to go into that, and we'll save them. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know many people are allergic to cats. Will there ever be a cure?
Yes, but they're telling me it's going to be a two-sided cure, which is kind of interesting. So it's going to be some sort of an organic substance that you would, let's say, feed cats that changes their biology somehow, and then also something you give humans. So they just tell me it's a two-sided equation that stabilizes that problem. Yeah.
Awesome. My daughter's really allergic. Does heaven look different for each individual person?
The answer is it can, but by and large, it looks the same as when you get over there, but we can also create our own reality. So thought really creates reality when you're in heaven. So if you want to see a flowing valley, you will. If you want to see an airport with all sorts of jets, you can. So you have the ability to create your own reality when you're over there. You do.
So if you're always a Debbie Downer and think everything's terrible, it is.
Right.
So this question isn't on here, but I'm going to throw it in.
Okay.
Joe Manchin had told the White House that he was for the Build Better Back America, the BBB bill. And then he was on Fox News this morning and says he can't do it due to the cost of living. A rich man worried about the cost of living.
Mm-hmm.
What's the outcome of that? And then, by the way, the White House is shocked that he did that. He went on Fox News to tell them, nah, I'm not going to vote for it.
Yeah, so we're talking about the Build Back Better legislation. I do see that eventually passing, but it's going to get it's going to get into next year. So I know Biden wanted to pass before Christmas. Obviously, it's not going to happen, but I do see it eventually passing. They're able to negotiate a path forward, and they're going to creatively determine how they pay for it. That's where it all gets down to. Does it last 10 years? Does it go in perpetuity? How do you pay for it? And that's where the short strokes are going to come down with Biden. So they're telling me the skill of Biden is going to be in how he negotiates how it's paid for.
Okay. And the other thing is that that cinema and mansion, they only represent about this much of people in the United States, yet they just override the well-being of America. And I would love to know if we're still worried about them after the change that happens. By the way, I see the Democrats winning because they're going to be able to pass the voting rights bill.
Yeah, I do. And I mean, it looks to me like both those congressional officials end up being voted out during the next cycle. So, I think I already see people kind of, wiping their hands saying we've had enough.
Yeah, I mean, you get like how many 200 and something people say yes, and then only 2 people are just throwing. I even see a Republican stepping over the line and helping. So I don't know what that is. Okay, so do you see anything coming up for next week?
I do, along the same lines here, I see much more aggressive court action and DOJ involvement with the 1-6 commission. So that's going to start to ramp up. The cycles are going to be much faster. Whereas before we saw, issue a subpoena, wait a while, talk to the lawyer, they're in contempt. Now the cycles are going to come much faster.
Fantastic.
I also see something related to like a space accident, something going on here. It might be a space station issue or something here. But something happening with a space accident. Now, I think the Webb telescope's being launched next week on like the 22nd, the big Webb telescope. I don't think it's that, but they were calling a space accident to my attention. So that's coming up.
Well, a while ago, I was telling people I felt like a space accident was getting ready to occur. We did have that Russian one that blew up and it caused all kinds of space, but it's something else. I actually see death.
Yeah. It's interesting. 3 weeks ago, my guides were telling me there was like a space accident. And then a couple of days later, they launched the rocket that's going to attach to that asteroid. But that's like a 10-year deal or longer for it to reach the asteroid. So at first I thought, well, I wonder if they're referring to that rocket that's supposed to crash into the asteroid. They were referring to that event. I'm not sure, but I see another space accident reference this week. I do. Yeah. And also more concrete progress on gun control, believe it or not.
Wow.
So whether it's more rollout of people adopting, like the Governor Newsom $10,000, lawsuit, but more rollout around that. Yeah.
And can I ask you,
Sure.
Trump is now next has to go to the Supreme Court because he doesn't want the Congress to get his tax records. Do you see the Supreme Court even hearing it, or they just say no?
Yeah, no, my feeling is in a good way, the Supreme Court's kind of done with all the shenanigans. It's almost like you can only help somebody so many times, then it starts to get ridiculous. How many times can you come challenge everything? It's like going back to, mommy and daddy all the time.
Well, he thinks they belong to him. So that's why he's so furious.
Yeah.
But I really feel that Trump is in for quite a surprise.
Well, it's an incremental. It's like the vice grips of justice are clamping down on them, but it's going very, very slow.
Right.
But it's like incrementally going slow, and at some point you turn around and you say, "Wow, now the jaws of justice are all around me. I didn't see it coming, but now it's here."
Yeah, and the higher courts just said, "Yep, big businesses can fire you if you don't get a vaccination." They just came up with that. So this is
right.
Really, and the Supreme Court has already said, too bad. I mean, the people are coming and saying they're making us get the vaccine, tell them they can't do that. And they said, no, they can do that. They're private organizations.
Right. And you and I discussed on a prior show that, the Biden's efforts to hold up the vaccine mandates was going to be successful. And it is, it has been. So
Okay,
Biden's, efforts to say you've got to get vaccinated or
right. That's the only way
leave
we
the
can
company.
save this world. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, last question. Do you have anything your guys want to share? And give us a nice Christmas. Tell
Well,
the guys Merry
what they're
Christmas.
telling me to tell everybody is that love conquers all. So come from a place of love in all your interactions, whether it's your family, your business associates, people you meet, but love conquers everything. So keep pushing forward. It's almost like running down the sports field, but love conquers everything and it will win in the end. So.
Absolutely. And just real quick, anything towards the new year, I feel like this next year coming up will be a little less painful.
Well, what I see is in 2022, there's going to be much more resolution to many things that we've been fighting. So right now, there's been a lot of people questioning things haven't happened fast enough, but you're going to start to see a lot of boxes being checked. Okay, that person's indicted, that person's in jail, that person's sued. Here's the gun law. Here's the new vaccines. Here's the pills for the vaccine. And we'll be able to check the box in a lot of areas.
Okay. Now, one of my favorite things to do is when I look at other psychic readers, and especially for you, is are you going to do a video on 2022 predictions?
I may. My wife Linda asked me about that.
Yeah.
If I fit it in the schedule, I will. But I also, it's interesting. If I look through like the last 40 or 50 shows during the year, there's a lot of predictions in those shows for 2022. So actually, it's almost like doing predictions the whole year, right?
Right, but maybe you could ball it up and put it, because if you do, I'll be reposting it on my show too.
Yeah, I'll talk to my wife about it. If the schedule permits, we can make it happen. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, my friend. And you guys, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, just very easily. If anybody needs to book a session with me, it's a sterlingpsychicmedium.com. You look for the book online tab.
Awesome. And you guys below, I'll post everything, how to reach him, where his YouTube channel is, etc. Thank you, my friend.
Great. All right. Well, happy holidays.
Happy
if I don't see you,
holidays.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays,
Merry
and
Christmas,
have
Happy
fun.
New Year. I'll be hanging out at the house, eating bonbons, watching TV.
There you go.
That's my thing.
Wonderful.
All right. Bye, you guys.